When you reflect on the projects you're working on right now, how are they progressing? Are they on track? Are they behind schedule? Do you find yourself wishing you could complete them sooner? Or perhaps the slowing down is because you're balancing competing projects, and so you're not able to invest as much attention into the slower moving project as you'd like to. Would you like a way to triage those projects so that you can assess the likelihood of a successful outcome before you get started? Or how helpful would it be to have a framework which showed you the area you need to strengthen so that you can supercharge your project's timeline? Today we're talking about a high-performance framework called the Action Indicator Assessment, and you can use this to shore up slow-moving projects, assess competing projects, or even to inform you on the go, no-go decision on a project before you invest any energy or resources. Let's get started, shall we?
Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Project Joyful podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Tutty, your medical herbalist and high-performance coach. So, hey, Project Joyful isn't just about being happy. It's about consciously creating a life you love. It's about remembering how to reconnect with your soul-centered joy. You know, that joy that comes from doing what you love, from living on purpose, and from being in a life that allows you to experience deep joy moment by moment. So hey, let's get started, shall we?
So, let's begin by taking a moment to reflect on the projects you've got going on right now. Are they moving ahead at the pace you'd like? Are you juggling projects? And as a result, one of them is getting more attention than the other. Do you have projects which, well, they seemed like a great idea at the time, but you simply haven't been able to get them off the ground? What if there was a way to determine ahead of time which projects are most likely to be delivered? Great news! There is. And I'm going to share the framework that will help you get really clear on whether you can do what needs to be done to get that project delivered. And you can also use this framework to triage those projects that aren't moving ahead as quickly as you'd like. Sound good? Great, let's get started. Okay, so for the purpose of applying our framework, let's get really clear on what we mean by a project. A project is anything that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can have work projects and personal projects. And often we take on too many projects when we're looking across the spectrum of work and personal. So this framework can be applied to your big dream or your passion project, as well as the projects you're juggling at work. Now, this framework has 10 areas that together will predict your will or personal motivation, your competencies, and the likelihood of successfully delivering the project you have in mind. So before we begin, let's take a moment and just think about that project. Think about what it will deliver. Think about who you're working with on that project. Bring that project front of mind as I ask you these 10 questions. Now, for each question, you'll rate your answer to each question, with 10 being yes, very much so, and 1 being no, not at all. Record your answers as you go, because we'll tally them up at the end to get an overall score. Now, I've also included a link in the show notes where you can take this quiz as often as you want, and it sums up your answers for you. Okay, so let's get started on those questions, shall we? Are you ready? Think of that big dream or that goal that you'd like to achieve. Here's my first question. Is this goal or identity relevant to your future identity? That is, to how you see yourself and to what you see yourself doing over the long term in the future. Now remember, 10, yes, very much so, no, not at all is a 1. Okay, is this goal or activity something you're passionate about, something you'd enjoy doing or you'd feel proud about, and something that you sense contributes meaningfully? Would you do this regardless of money, status, recognition, or power? These are called extrinsic rewards. Remember, a 10 is yes, very much so, and 1 is no, not at all. Okay, is this goal or activity something that will lead to a useful outcome? In other words, will you get something useful in life out of doing this? Where are you on that scale, with 10 being the ultimate and 1 being no, not at all? Next question. In pursuing this goal or activity, can you avoid losing out on other things that you find important? In other words, can you do this without costing too much time, too much energy, too much effort, resources, and willpower? 10 is a yes, 1 not so much. Next question. Is this goal or activity going to have quick and recognizable results that I can enjoy soon? 10 is a yes, they definitely are. 1 is a no, not going to have quick and recognizable results soon. Okay, next question. Is this goal or activity something that you'll be able to make happen by your own efforts? 10 is a definite yes, 1 not so much. Okay, is this goal or activity something people will support you on? Will others provide direction and cheerleading when you attempt this? 10 is a hell yeah, 1 is a no. Next question. Is this goal or activity something you'll have enough time and focus to do a good job at? 10 is a yep, 1 is a no. Next question. Will you have the resources you'll need to successfully accomplish this goal? 10 is a yes, 1 is a no. Last question. Will you be given the trust and decision-making authority you need to feel as though you're in control and able to make things happen? 10 is a full body yes, 1 is a definitely not. Okay, so that's all the questions. Now take a moment and add up your scores. Do you have your number? If you scored below 75, then it's likely that you don't yet feel competent or excited about this project. But it's not necessarily bad news, because the clue is in the not yet. I would invite you to think about those areas that had a score of less than 8. For each of those areas, ask yourself, what can I do in this area to increase my score? Want to move an existing project forward more quickly? The key is to take a look at those areas where you scored less than 8. The other way that you can use this framework is to rank competing projects. Rather than dragging a low-scoring project along, could you invest that time in a higher-ranking project and move it along quicker? And once delivered, you may be able to bring more of you to the delayed project, or you may even find that that project is no longer necessary. Rather than sinking into a culture of hustle and grind, take a moment to strategically assess your project's likelihood of success. Then use this framework to see where you can supercharge your project's timeline by bringing in some additional energy, tools or resources into those low-scoring areas. Happy projecting. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. Can I ask you a favour? If our conversation spoke to you today, could you please take a moment to leave a 5-star review? Your review will help people discover this podcast, and together we can create a world where there's even more love and more laughter. And if you want to hear more from the Project Joyful podcast, just click the subscribe button. Bye for now.